Nice one, Carl, thank you. And Ruben Boutens clearly was able to impose his authority. And we head for round two, heat two. And so as we return now for round two, heat two, Jamie Henson, let's have a look at this. I'm looking at the lineup on this one. We'll go through it because obviously it's easy to. We're going to get the qualifying things in. But to be honest, former ladies world champion Selena Balnega is kind of going to be the favourite, I think, for this race. It's going to be interesting. I think the biggest challenge potentially coming from David Kart is going to be the one that makes her work hard for this one. And of course, Jana Verbreken, former Belgian champion. Is there anyone else? And Johnny Elliott, maybe. Who would you be feeling about this in this race?
Yeah, it's a really good one. I was just thinking initially looking at the list, I'm not so sure that there's any sort of real standouts, but there are actually when you look a bit more at it. Balnega obviously with a superb win earlier, beating Ruben to its first place. Got Chart there, was very, very quick earlier. Johnny Elliott and yeah, Verbreken all got a chance.
Yeah, that's right. Suddenly there's four people out. And of course, Andrew Duff we saw come through running solidly mid-pack earlier on. In fact, probably racing better than ever, although he's not writing the blog this year, which is massive disappointment. And I'm sure there'll be a few people take him outside for a little chat about that later on. But anyway, so an interesting set of people who may want to be trying to score extra points in this would be James Martin. Dwayne Stoddart, again, he's somebody who keeps talking like he's 9th or 10th, but actually, you know, we've seen has the possibility of running a lot higher than that and potentially mid-pack as he gains the experience at this level. But I think Selena Balnega and David Kart are the ones. Now, the flag's coming out, so we've got results, and it's James Martin who's fastest at the moment, and Matt West is coming a little bit lower down. There's Dwayne Stoddart, and the times are coming in. It's still, and Andrew Duff there is into third, and Verbreken, but Selena Balnega is fastest by half a second. Incredible result. And there's David Kart in second. Johnny Elliott's gone to second, 2/10 behind Selena. So it's Balnega from Elliott from Kart and James Martin. Zach Ven's come up into 5th place, and Jana Verbreken has been pushed down to 6th with Andrew Duff 7th, Matt West 8th, Nicky Dolan 9th, and Dwayne Stoddart in 10th. We thought obviously our most likely pole position time setter would be Selena Balnega, which has come to pass. But Johnny Elliott has actually maybe moved a couple of places higher than what we figured there, Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. She's in it to win it, isn't she? Absolutely flying, doing a great job. I didn't give enough credit to James Martin before the start of this race. I forgot he was in it. Very good effort there as well. And then we've got Chart as well in 3rd place. It's going to be tight. Johnny needs a good result as well. Remember, he came 4th in his first heat, and he is a rapid driver. He's one of the top British hopes, but he'll be thinking a win might be necessary here in order to make him look comfortable for the semi-finals and the final.
Absolutely, and comfortable isn't a word we've often used over the years for Johnny Elliott. It's somehow always gone wrong. However, I must say in the last, 3 years, the British Kart Championship and his racing generally, he really is a lot more of a solid competitor and certainly capable of taking the fight to Selena Balnega here, no problem at all. Selena, of course, multiple ladies world champion, 5 times ladies world champion, Selena Balnega, and races at the front in any championship she's in. So she's taking the start now. It's a green flag, and Johnny Elliott's behind. There's a lot of hard braking goes on that first hairpin. It's easy to overshoot, as we all know. So as they lead around the opening lap, it is still Selena Balnega from Johnny Elliott and David Kart in 3rd place. But Kart's coming under pressure there from the 4th place, James Martin, which was, again, somebody we overlooked. Now down the backstretch, we see on screen, it's Selena Balnega from Johnny Elliott. Now, everyone with the tinted visors seems to be racing with them up. Johnny's is down. He seems to have the vision, though.
Yeah, personally I always try and have my visor up these days when it's tinted, but I didn't go any quicker, so I don't think there's much to it really. Johnny's got it down, he's flying. At the minute he'll just be seeing what he can learn from Selena, who obviously out-qualified him by 0.2 of a second. He'll be seeing basically what she knows that he maybe doesn't. As soon as he feels comfortable running at that pace, then he'll probably have an attack.
Absolutely. Of course, Johnny Elliott will be fully aware Selena Balnega is a very fast driver, and if anything, he may well want to just sort of run with her away. Her attitude right now is going to be to try and do what we've just seen Ruben Boutens do. She wants to sort of check out results in this, just get clear and get gone. Johnny Elliott, of course, if he can stay with her, even if he doesn't pass her, you know, 2nd place is going to be a lot of points. He was 4th earlier on, so this would be a step up and will give him a lot of confidence going forward. Of course, we've got David Kart and then the aforementioned James Martin. Now, James Martin, somehow this happens every year. We kind of don't figure him, and then he appears in these sort of positions. So James Martin, a lot more solid competitor than I think he gets credit for, as he runs around in fourth, and the incredible Zach Venn is up to fifth. And the reason I'm saying incredible is Jan Verbreken is behind him. So very good showing there by Zach Venn. But James Martin definitely underrated.
We have a pit out there. Nicky Dolan is into the pits. Nicky Dolan is into the pits. They got a car almost cut out there, but they managed to get it back going. They qualified 9th. I think they pitted from 9th, so I think they're going to be on their own there. There was a little bit of a slow pit stop.
Yeah, that's right, Carl. Nicky Dolan came out from 9th. It does elevate Dwayne Stoddart into 9th himself, and so that doesn't really affect the result too much as they stand. So still we've got Selena Balneg there with Johnny Elliott running absolutely with her. Now Johnny Elliott is probably hoping for Selena to be able to actually pull away a little bit more. Selena from the Netherlands has got Johnny Elliott shadowing her, but actually Johnny Elliott is about the same gap. The gap he is away from the leader is all he is ahead of third place, which is the rapid Polish driver David Kart. David Kart we saw getting the result earlier on as well, and David is certainly a force to be reckoned with. He in turn is James Martin. In fact, if you look when the camera pans out, we're still really nearly everybody in contention. You know, at least the top 7 or 8. Jamie, this is going to be a little bit of a tight race at the end, I think.
Yeah, definitely. There's 3 potential winners here. It was like I was saying at the start, Johnny is just seeing what he can learn, and already his pace has improved massively over the course of the race. Selena will be feeling under a little bit of pressure. If Kart can get involved in this as well, it's going to be very, very interesting when we start looking at pit stops and who's going to blink first.
Absolutely, and still, you know, a big teller of the sort of attitude of the race is on that backstretch, where we see that the leaders or those who are under attack will automatically, without even looking, go to the inside, which as we look up the straight will be to the right, whereas we're seeing with this lot they're actually all on the left hand side, the outside part, which is the normal given racing line, and they're continuing around these sort of twists and turns. Of course, it's a bit of a new course for everybody. On that backstretch now, and you can see there's really nothing happening in terms of aggressive moves at the end there. It is one golden opportunity to overtake, but Johnny Elliott is now a lot closer to Selena Balnega, and certainly has moved ahead in terms of distance from David Kart, who still has James Martin with him. So Johnny Elliott's the one who's sort of making the moves at the moment. He's not the fastest on the track, but he's second fastest, so that pretty much creates its own picture. They certainly, the 2 leaders are pulling away from third place David Kart. David now is 1.6 seconds behind Selena Balnega. Now here come the 2 leaders. So there's Selena, there's Johnny, and there's that gap to David Kart, and he's trying to bring James Martin with him. Jan Verbreken is dropping back even further, the former Belgian champion. I'm honestly quite surprised to see now that Jan Verbreken is 4.2 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, and he's fallen into the clutches of Zach Venebit, who's just made a move on Andrew Duff. Those 2 are both pulling each other along quite nicely as well. Jan is going to have to think a little bit about defending in a second, because James Martin is pulling away from him as well. It's not all going his way at the moment, but still a long way to go, of course.
Absolutely, and of course it's Zach Venn he's defending from, and arguably Andrew Duff, and then Matt West is sort of coming into the mix. So there's a little bit of a four-kart group building up there as we look there at the fourth place James Martin. James Martin going through. There's David Kart, there's James Martin. So we're seeing James Martin here running in the 4th place, and then it's 5th and 6th for Verbreken Ben. So as they continue on, we're nearly 10 laps in now with Selena Balnega there leading from Johnny Elliott. Johnny Elliott is within a second of Selena, and he's really got a bit of a watching brief. There's now a 2-second gap between David Kart, who we're looking at on the screen there in the green helmet, and the leader. So David Kart is falling away slightly, and James Martin, well, he's not really close to David Kart. So David Kart is about as lonely as you could say, given that it's a bit of a line of karts going on. David already probably is going to be considering that 3rd place is the best.
Yeah, looks that way. Quite comfortable behind him, quite comfortable in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's. I think we're really seeing what's happening in the pit stops. Still, nobody's making any sort of aggressive defensive moves. See on this backstretch, we see them move to our right when we're looking up it, their left. When they're coming down it under pressure, and the fact that they're not shows that no one's really feeling any pressure. So there's James Martin, and they're the 2 leaders. There's David Kart, and here comes James Martin. This is going to be great for James Martin, because he's actually quietly gathering quite a few points together. If we look at James Martin's history, well, 2 years ago, you know, he was 52nd and that's been his best result. But with the results he's getting today, he's solidly in the middle there, in the upper half of the middle. He could well be in the 40s, and with a fair win, maybe even knocking on the doors of a semi-final.
Absolutely, it would be quite embarrassing if I was wrong about this, but I'm quite confident James Martin beat me in my earlier heat. I think he finished 4th there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's absolutely knocking on the door of the semi-finals. He's racing very, very well.
Yeah, he's pretty quiet and pretty underrated in the scheme of things, and I think he could well be somebody who, even if he doesn't make the semi-finals, he'll certainly improve and be in the top half of the championship. Now, Johnny Elliott is really starting to apply pressure to the race leader. There they go through. Johnny Elliott is the second of those two. Selena Balnega is the leader there as they cross the line again. That's 13 laps in, and Johnny Elliott is really sort of closing in on the Dutch girl ahead. They're matching each other time. Johnny Elliott ever so slightly faster on that last lap, but look at the smooth turn in there. Yes, it's a bit of a flick going into the hairpin, but not quite as extreme as TKM driver Lucas Sullivan we saw before. That's the big difference in the outdoor and indoor karts. The indoor karts always looking to maintain momentum. Of course, taking away nothing from Lucas Sullivan because he did manage an excellent result in that previous race, but you can just see the different styles coming into play there. The indoor kart has just got that element of sort of smoothness rather than the slightly more ragged edge of the outdoor two-stroke kart. Now, there's David Cart, there's the aforementioned James Martin, there is Jana van Brecken. Now, Jana, I was worried about him being in a bit of a battle behind, but he's sort of pulled away slightly from Ven, who's pulled away quite a lot from Andrew Duff and Matt West. Really, there are just big gaps appearing in the whole field now, except for the two leaders. It's half a second between these two. Now, do you think Johnny can do it?
I think he probably can. I think he's waiting for the right opportunity. I think he now knows where he's quick and where maybe he was losing out a little bit. It's about whether he wants to do it in the pit stops or whether he wants to throw it down the inside. I suspect he's just going to keep right on the tail if he possibly can. Wait till the last couple of minutes and then see what the pit stops bring him.
Absolutely. Now, what's very interesting is the number 10 kart that Johnny is in. Brad didn't rate it, but the other two who've driven it did rate it in his team, so it's who knows, it's obviously suiting some people less than others. Now, what's really interesting in that respect is that Selena Balnega, we saw how she was able to defeat double world champion and reigning British champion Ruben Boutons in the earlier race, but Johnny's staying with her. Johnny's looking very believable indeed. He's maintaining that gap of half a second. We can't really be sure with this new Johnny Elliott whether he's actually applying pressure or just playing it super cool. If he's playing it cool, it doesn't get much cooler than this. But certainly, you know, I'm sure Selena's thinking the same thing. Oh, almost contact there. As Johnny Elliott is now really applying the pressure. Now, is Johnny going to come in? No, he's content to stay with the Dutch girl. Now, Selena Balnega is really probably... she's going to be uncertain about this. Johnny Elliott isn't a driver she actually has to tackle very often. Johnny doesn't go and do the foreign events these days. He's very much in Britain, and it's kind of before her time that he was doing the foreign events, and it was a different Johnny Elliott doing it. You know, it was a more emotional, more liable to error Johnny Elliott, where this super slick and composed Johnny that we have today is really going to be one that kind of messes with her head a little bit, because she's not able to pull away. She knew what she was dealing with Ruben Boutons and the others before, but not maybe with Johnny Elliott. Kyle, we've been fairly quiet reference you because nobody's been coming at the pits.
And
but
just as you say that, yep, it's Andrew Duff, or Michael I should call him, as I called him before. So Andrew Duff's in, let's see where he comes out. Dwayne Stoddart goes through, but he's come out quite far ahead of Nicky Dolan as well. So it looks like he's in a nailed on 9th for now, but that could improve another's pit.
There's an awful lot of people to pit in front of him because hardly anyone's been in. Those who have pitted tend to be nearer the tail. But one crucial thing with Andrew Duff is, I think, am I right in saying that West and Stoddart have been in?
No, they haven't.
No, okay, so yeah, in that case, Andrew Duff is in a good shape.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get Stoddart. I don't know about West, so it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. Just a quick comment on the lead battle now. Johnny, it keeps toing and throwing, but I think Johnny definitely has a little bit more pace. He seems a little bit stronger through this last section, but Selena looks better through the first section. So it's just panning out on mistakes. So it'll be interesting to see if Johnny fancies himself to pull the pin and try and get the undercut.
Well, I think Selena Balnega is certainly concerned about that, because look at the amount of looking over her shoulder she's doing. She's paying about as much attention to what's going on behind as what's up ahead. I think she's probably quite concerned about Johnny. Now, obviously, someone of Selena's standard will have the strategy in hand and will have help from the pits. Now, obviously, if she's worried about Johnny's speed, the best thing she can do right now, Jamie, is stay out there, isn't it? Because at least she can contain him. Whereas if she was to pit, Johnny's going to be then free. If he's able to make a faster pace, then she's going to suffer for him doing that. But at least she knows what the crack is and she can control it a little bit from the front there. Jamie, she's surely going to stay out as long as possible now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the amount of looking over her shoulder she's doing, you're absolutely right. But you need to keep a good track of where the driver behind you is, because when Johnny does make that stop, she needs to be on it. She needs to absolutely smash the lap in and then get herself in so she can cover off that undercut.
Absolutely, and worse from Selena's point of view, of course, is she doesn't really know Johnny. You know, if it was somebody else, you'd know what they're going to do, how they're going to think things. You know, people know each other, but she's not really had much experience of racing with Johnny Elliott, because when Johnny was racing internationally, it was before her time, so to speak. So there's Johnny with that very much European lean. You'll notice with the indoor karting, the drivers tend to lean out quite a lot. It is to lift that inside rear wheel through the tight corners. Obviously, indoor kart track is a lot tighter than an outdoor one, and it really plays a part. Certainly, you notice it very much so in the taller drivers. So if we're talking watching the likes of, say, Johnny Elliott, Regis Gosselin, Sam Spinell, you can really see them leaning out. Look at that, Johnny leaning out the side of the kart there. That's to help the kart steer through the corner, rotate the chassis through the turn. There's less than 7 minutes now. Now, Selena has got through, and Johnny's been weighed through by the back marker, but he has lost some time. He's weighed, thanks, but it's cost him a little bit. It's now gone up to, 3/4 of a second instead of just half. There's Selena Balnega, the Dutch 5 times ladies world champion. She's trying to fend off Johnny Elliott, who's looking to try and take the win if he can. Johnny's looking pretty convincing in this race, Jamie. I don't think Selena's got it in the bag by any means.
She doesn't. This is a really interesting phase of the race now, because Johnny was held up a little bit with the back marker a bit more. The gap is as big as it's been, and we can now tell whether he has the pace over her or not, or whether actually now that he's fallen out the toe just a little bit, she's going to be able to make up that gap. If Johnny can make that gap quite a bit smaller, it means the undercut's probably on for him.
Absolutely, it could well occur. I mean, it's going to come down to a tight pit stop. That puts a lot of pressure on both of them to get it right. They've got to be really fast, but of course, if they are too quick through the pits, they've got to stop twice in the same pit stop. They stop at the beginning and at the end of the pit lane, and so when that happens, they mustn't be too fast through the pit lane. We allow for about 10 seconds, but they are under pressure to keep it as tight as possible, and we've seen incidents where already today where people have gone too fast, too early. Into the pits, have we?
That is Dwayne Stoddart into the pits. So he was Andrew Duff was just catching him up, so that's going to please Andrew Duff. Let's see where Dwayne Stoddart comes out. I think it could be close between him and Nicky Dolan, and it looks like he's clearly ahead of Nicky Dolan, so that's a good jump for Dwayne Stoddart.
Yeah, he's made it clean, but he's come out right in front of David Kart. So David Kart will be a bit disappointed. That's potentially good news for James Martin. There's Selena Balnega and Johnny Elliott. Andrew Duff, though, if we look at the times and we're considering in 10 seconds for a pit stop, when Matt West comes in out of 7th place, Johnny Elliott's going to come probably alongside him as West exits the pits himself. Meantime, the leads have got 5 minutes left to go. Neither of them are making a pit stop yet. It's the biggest gap so far between the two, but certainly nothing in it in reality. James Martin's just being waved through by Dwayne Stoddart there. Very sporting there of Dwayne. In the pits, though.
Yep. We have number 19. Verbraeken. Let's see where he comes out. That is, I think it's Matthew West that has just gone through, and it has. So Verbraeken comes out. I think he was 5th when he pitted.
Yeah, that's right. Now, that's quite interesting because Verbreken's come out 7th. Andrew Duff is 8th, but he's nowhere near him. You know, it's like an 8 seconds gap. So Andrew Duff is probably as high as he's going to be. However, Matt West is going to be very close when Matt West makes his pit stop. Really, if West's pit stop is good, he will be ahead of Duff.
And we have another pitter. It's Zach Venn is in. So Zach Venn is in, and this is probably in reaction to Verbraeken. Verbraeken goes through. Matthew West. Sorry, that was Zach Venn. That wasn't the best pit stop I've seen, but he comes out in clear air, completely on his own. So I don't know what position he's in at the moment, but
he's
got
down in
nobody near him.
7th, and he's certainly lost a place to Verbraeken, the Belgian champion, the former Belgian champion. We'll see how that looks. I'm sure he lost the place, but we'll double check when they come round next time in the timing. So across the line is Stoddart and Dolan. There is Stoddart that we're looking at now. There's Dwayne Stoddart. He'll probably be now a little bit disappointed with this ninth. He's been putting in some really good results and some very fast laps. But Dwayne Stoddart there is coming under increasing pressure from Nicky Dolan. This is effectively the fight for last. Here's the fight for first. Selena Balnega has actually got a bigger lead than ever. And is she coming in? No, she's not. Johnny Elliott is the one she's trying to just pull away from. Let's just have a little look for those lap times. Selena Balnega is the fastest out there. Yeah, and she's actually quicker than Johnny Elliott by a tenth on that lap. I think she's realised that she's going to have to get a bit of a move on, as much as anything, to just create some a little bit more ease for the pit stop, because the last thing you need is a pressured pit stop, Jamie. That's a great way to lose a race. Or collision for the battle for the tail. And in fact, Dwayne Stoddart looks to go straight into the barrier, but he's got going again, and they're in the position they were in before, so probably no penalties or requests by the organiser to switch back. So that's the battle for the tail. As you can see, it's really opened out. A second ago, they were more than close. They were into each other. But certainly here, we've now got a gap of 1.5 seconds. Selena Balnega has found something from somewhere, and that's going to allow a less rush pit stop, shall I say,
And we've got
Jay?
21, Matthew West is in. So Matthew West is in. It's going to see. So we have Zach Venn goes through. Andrew Duff's coming now. This is going to be really close of Andrew Duff.
Yes, Andrew Duff is going to have to make a move. Now, if it was the ordinary snail, he would be in with a chance, but he's not now because it's a hairpin on the revised layout. So Andrew Duff...
And Johnny's in. Yep. Johnny Elliott is in from second place. So he's starting to drop back a little bit from Selena there. So I think this is just to consolidate his second place now.
And very much a fan favourite, though, with everyone involved in indoor karting, is Johnny Elliott. So a lot of people will be keen to see him do well. He's resumed in fourth place. Of course, everyone in front of him does have to stop. That's Selena Balnega, David Kart and James Martin, but it has to be said that I think he's probably too far back from Selena. Selena's in, yeah.
And Selena Balnega is reacting immediately, which is a wise thing to do, and she is followed in by David Chart as well. Kart even. Good pit stops by both of them so far. And it comes out so Balnega goes out and Chart. Yep, it's status quo. There is no change at the front.
Yeah, that was a very important pit stop by Selena Balnega. She couldn't really afford to leave it any later than that. Yes, she had managed to create that little bit of a gap, but there was no point risking it. It was very much worth her while to come in straight away. At least she knows where Johnny actually is now, and that's behind her, and that's where she wants him. So Selena Balnega has got probably the most convincing lead that she's had yet this race. Another one in the pits, I believe.
Yep, that is number 9. That's James Martin. So James Martin in the pits. He was in quite a battle with Bracken, I thought, and he's going to come out clearly ahead of Bracken.
Yeah, it was David Kart he was trying to chase down there. Unfortunately, he seems to have lost a bit of ground as James Martin, but still, fourth place is great. That's a lot of points. Remember, he's trying to get in the top half of this championship, and being fifth and fourth is exactly the right way to do it. Meantime, we're into the maybe the penultimate lap now for Selena Balnega, multiple ladies world champion. There she is on screen. She's bringing it round to start what's going to be the final lap there. So Selena through, and clearly she's got 2 second lead there over Johnny Elliott, so it's looking good for her. There's Johnny Elliott in second, and there's David Kart in third as they come through with a bigger gap now. There's Selena Balnega there going through the revised area. This is the bit of track that we didn't see earlier on this morning if you were watching on the live stream and on Motorsport TV. As Selena Balnega comes down the backstretch, there she is. Ladies world champion, no less than 5 times. An epic performance. This is why she's running at the front, knows exactly what to do, huge amount of experience, and certainly making it look easy out there, and takes the win. There's the checker flag, so a great win there by Selena Balnega, her second of the championship. This is a huge ton of points for her, and a great score for Johnny Elliott.
Absolutely fantastic, and of course Selena now guaranteed the championship lead at the halfway phase. No matter what happens, she's at least going to be joint first. Can't do much better than that.
Absolutely not. That's been an outstanding performance by the Dutch woman there, because beating Johnny Elliott, he got that gap down to 1.8 from it had been over 2, but obviously that's not enough, and it's still second place. David Kart in third. David Kart is someone we've never seen here before. That's 2 third places for him, so decent amount of points for him. James Martin in fourth, and here comes Selena Balnega and Carl Power in the pit lane. We're going to go over to you now.
Yep, just watching Selena come in. That was good. David Chart gave me a bit of a sideways look. He said to me before his English isn't so good, so he's a bit uncertain about an interview, but I think he's going to come and talk to me this time. I have a feeling. So yeah, another stunning drive by Selena Balnega. 2 out of 2 on debut here at BRKC. Like, obviously she's an extremely experienced driver, 5 times ladies world champion. But again, it's every track has its foibles and its little nuances. So to pick it up and dominate, well, not quite dominate, but put in such a strong performance and convincingly win 2 races is phenomenal. I think we're going to be seeing an awful lot of her in the final. So you could argue that she's a new favourite. As James said, she's going to be equal on points now. So we've got some people just been weighed. I think we've got David has just been weighed. We've got Johnny. So I'm going to try and get Johnny to come over. Yep. So. Hi. So in the pit lane here, we have second place finisher. We have Johnny Elliott here. Johnny, well done. That was a good race. It looked pretty tough out there against Selena. How do you think you're going on the alternate layout?
Love it. Yeah, real big fan of it. That kart, I actually had that same kart in the first heat, so I was the last one to pick the karts, and I drew that kart again. So it was either that one or take a cold. So this track's not got as many straights, you know, so it didn't matter as much. But I was definitely lacking pace on the straight. Managed to keep with her. Really had to work hard getting it perfect into the corners. But yeah, happy with the results. Second place in this event this year. I'll take that, yeah. Yeah, indeed, and it's against somebody who's beat Ruben Boutons in the first time round in the first race and is equal joint championship leader, so it's not all bad, is it? No, I knew that was going to get brought up. Yeah, happy with it. She drove well. Tried to pressure her a few times. I gave her a nudge, and yeah, there was just nothing I could do, so yeah, it was a good race. Okay, brilliant. Nice when you got your championship back on track. So that was Johnny Elliott, who finished a strong second place. And now, again, hello again. So we have here's Selena Balnega. Yeah. 2 out of 2 at BRKC. Yeah. This is easy, isn't it?
No, it's not easy, but I'm really happy. I knew the drivers in this heat were okay. I didn't have a difficult heat as the heat before. But then I drew kart 8, and that's one of the last fastest kart, as well as 10 and I think 14 also. But I was really happy with Paul, and I was like just hoping for a gap. But he stayed on my bumper quite a long time. And I think then I find something on the track, and then I drove in 0.7, and he was still on 9 and 8. So I think every lap 1/10 faster, and then I think I pulled a gap of 1 second or something. But I'm really happy.
How did you find the alternate layout?
At first I was pretty scared, but after all it's fine. It's not that difficult as I thought.
Well, it certainly didn't slow you down. And another medal.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot the last medal. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So yeah, congratulations. So and I think you're now joint championship leader at the very worst.
I don't know, but we have 2 more races to go. So I hope I can have another good races tomorrow, because there are a lot of fast drivers. So with 2 wins, you're not safe as because Ruben has now in first place, and a lot of guys have first, second places. So 2 races to go, so everything can happen.
Well, you're perfect so far, so keep it up.
So much, thank you.
So we've got heat number 3 in. I can see we have a Michael Weddle in this one. I'm trying to have a look around. We've also got a Ryan Smith, a Robin Kazam, I think, by the look of it. Back to you, James. This looks like it could be a good one.